Andy Reid's defense has been bringing a blitzing pain to their NFL opposition en route to a 6-2 start, while the Donovan and Deuce duo have administered the same hurt to opposing defenses. Today, Tony Dungy's Colts answer with their passing punch of Peyton Manning and league-leading receiver Mark. Two first-place teams, the Eagles and Colts, are next. The Colts trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. The Eagles have not lost at home this year, 4-0. And on this Veterans Day weekend at Veterans Stadium, before the game today, we honor the men and women who have proudly and courageously represented our country. Kickoff coming up. Back in Philadelphia, the Colts have lost 3 in a row, but still share the lead in the NFC South with the Titans. And in the NFC East, the Eagles have opened up a 2-game lead over the Giants in Washington. Let's go down to the field now, and Bonnie Bernstein.
Well, Dick, Tony Dungy's rally speech to his Colts this week, kind of a spin-off of one of the team's few positive trends. He says, we've been able to make halftime adjustments, come out and be a good second-half team. Now let's go out and be a good second-half team for the season. As for Peyton Manning, facing the Eagles defense without and James, Dungy is preaching patience. He said, if you're behind, don't feel like you need to shoot the 3-pointer to come back. Rely on your defense, trust your defense, and you'll get your shots. Dick?
All right, thank you, Bonnie. What a day. Temperature close to 70 degrees here in the east. Humidity a bit high. There is a chance of showers later. And the Colts will send it off the toe of their punter, Hunter Smith. And you see the series standings. Check that, it's Mike Vanderjagt who will kick it off. And at the other end, Brian Mitchell, the most productive kick returner in NFL history. He has it at the 5. Mitchell, the veteran, to the 25 and wrapped up at the 28-yard line. Donnell Thompson led the charge, and here's Donovan McNabb. What a job he's done. In front of him, an anchored line, John Runyon, averaging 325 pounds per man.
Our game plan today is to start fast, finish strong, eliminate turnovers, and have an established run game as well as a pass game, and make sure we're clicking on all cylinders.
And, of course, for the defenses, as they try to check this line, averaging 325 pounds, even when you get your hands on McNabb, it's tough to bring him down. He comes out on a roll, looks and throws downfield, almost intercepted as he overshot his target, Todd Pinkston, and Dries Bashir was in the pattern. Here's the Indianapolis Colts defensive starters, and they've had to realign themselves with the injuries up front. The backing core, led by Rob Morse, the middle linebacker, and the back line of Harris, Bashir, Gibson, and Macklin. Tony Dungy moving from Tampa Bay after successful seasons down south. His first year with the Colts, as McNabb goes long for Deuce Staley, but he was well covered by David Gibson. So 3rd and 10 for McNabb and the Eagles.
Donovan obviously had an extra bowl of Wheaties this morning, as his 2 throws to start this ball game have been aerials that have been thrown way long.
Maybe his mama Wilma gave him a little too much of that soup that she talks about.
Maybe so, but he's Donovan needs to just choke her down just a little bit.
3rd and 10. They pick up the pressure. The throw is underneath and caught at the 40-yard line, just enough for a first down to the tight end Chad Lewis. David Thornton with the tackle, a gain of 12.
Well, Lewis shows why he's been to the Pro Bowl the last couple of years, because he runs this route to perfection. It's just a simple little hook pattern. You can see how he muscles through David Thornton, but where he sits down is right at the first down marker. So many times you'll see a young receiver break that pattern off a yard short, and instead of a first down, they're punting.
Dorsey Levin's in the backfield, and he takes the handoff, and the former Packer rumbles goes for 11 more and a first down before Brad Scioli can drag him down at the Indy 49-yard line.
Well, the difference between these two teams is that the Colts are out of running backs and the Eagles have plenty. If it's not Deuce Staley, it's Dorsey Levens, and then rookie Brian Westbrook is also going to see service this afternoon. So it's feast and famine here between these two teams in the running back department.
Of course, you could put McNabb in the
really
category of running back as well as Staley. They Chandu since he's tackled forward, and he has another 10 yards.
Are you implying that Donovan McNabb can run with the football?
Just a bit. We haven't seen it yet, but almost 400 yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. That's twice the number of rushing touchdowns the Colts had.
Yeah, no question. It's a wealth of RBs and people who can carry it. That's just a good cutback. But the left side of the line, Trey Thomas and John Welborn and center Hank Fraley sealed off the backside. So when Staley made that cut, it was wide open.
3 straight plays for the Eagles that gained 10 yards or more. McNabb incomplete. Tried to hit James Thrash. Too tall. The coverage from Walt Harris, the former Chicago Bear.
And another one from McNabb that just sailed. Well, we know the Kansas City Chiefs are the #1 rush offense in the league, but obviously you can see they rely so much on one guy, Priest Holmes. But it again gets spread around here in Philadelphia, and McNabb, Dick mentioned the nearly 400 yards and the 6 touchdowns. His average is over 7 yards a carry.
They fake the end around. A flag goes down. McNabb throws underneath to Staley, and he is crunched. A quick, hard hit coming up from 94, Rob Morris, the middle backer from BYU. Referee is Bernie Kukar.
Going to have an illegal use of hands against one of the Eagle offensive linemen, I would suspect. A most physical group of individuals.
You wouldn't have minded at all lining up with this group.
I love the way they play. You don't like to get penalties, but they are rough and tough.
Illegal use of hands. Number 76 offense. Hands to the face. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
Getting the total call of Kukar. His microphone not plugged in.
I think he called John Welborn right there, number 76. Yeah, you can see. Well, he only took James Canada's helmet clear off. That's the first sign that something went wrong.
That'll get the attention from yellow.
John Welborn, the left guard. Pretty obvious.
Second down, 20 for the Eagles. Play action. McNabb winds up and throws, hits as he's thrown, and it's caught at the 20-yard line by Antonio Freeman, the former Packer. What a throw. McNabb was hit by Dwight Freeney just as he released the ball.
And this time Antonio Freeman comes all the way across the field. You can see the hit as Freeney just buries Donovan McNabb. But there's Freeman in the slot, and he's going to break to his left right here against the Indy zone and get wide open. You can see he found the hollow spot between the corner and the deep safety right over the top of Macklin. But that's a zone defense, and Freeman, with that experience, found the soft spot.
29-yard gain, another first down at the 20-yard line of Indianapolis. Hit the backfield as Westbrook, and then he fights to get to the line of scrimmage as Rob Morris and Freeney had penetrated the line of scrimmage. This is Westbrook, the rookie from Villanova, picked in the 3rd round, playing in his hometown, was a starting point guard for Morgan Wooten at famed DeMatha High School. Great all-around athlete. Kind of nice when you play your college ball here in Philadelphia and get to stay right here in the NFL.
You mentioned Morgan Wooten. I read an article this week. He just retired. He just stepped down as coach at DeMatha after all these years.
Second down, 11. They give an end run and a fumble, and the ball loose. And the Eagles recover at the 35-yard line. As falling on it was Todd Pinkston, I believe, as Dwight Freeney again, the rookie from Syracuse, in to make the hit.
Well, Dwight Freeney just completely ruins this play by his upfield penetration. And I would say that's penetration. He's about 9 yards deep and tackles Pinkston as he's trying to take the handoff. What a play by their #1 draft choice this year. When in doubt, go upfield and create a little chaos. And that's exactly what the rookie did.
Greeny led the nation with 17.5 sacks last year at Syracuse. So long yardage for McNabb. He dumps it off. It's complete to Westbrook, and the rookie spinning inside the 20 and fights to the 16, and the fans love that. On comes the field goal unit.
Well, he's got his big offensive line out in front of him. Jermaine Mayberry, he's number 71, the right guard. He'll be the first one to leave. There comes Fraley right behind him. There's Mayberry in his block, Fraley right behind him. And then it's just individual effort. A well-designed, good-looking screen that gets Akers into pretty good field goal position.
Look at those numbers. 19 for 20 for Akers is 19, the most in the NFL. This one is 35 yards, and it is good. The Eagles on their first possession strike with a three-pointer from David Akers. And so the Eagles, David Akers, nearly perfect through the season, 20 for 21. Caps that drive with a 35-yard field goal, and now we'll kick it off to Troy Walters. Little scat back, 5'7", 170-pounder, played at Stanford. And the left quarter spins it high. Walters up to the 6. Gets outside and returns to the 30, and several flags fly. Hugh Douglas is in on the kick coverage team to make that Barry Gardner. I didn't think that was Douglas. Yeah, this is the usually the hand in the back penalty. We'll see. Block in the back. And holding. And
multiples.
Take your pick.
Luckily, they'll only enforce one of them.
Holding 34 of the return team. That penalty is declined. Illegal block in the back. Number 98 of the return team. That penalty is accepted. That's 10 yards. First down.
And so the Colts will start at the 16, their first possession. Peyton Manning.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37. Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. And by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge.
Eagles with the early lead, 3-0, and it's Peyton Manning and the Colts, who have self-destructed in the first half the last 3 games, spotting the opposition 20 points or more. Early leads haven't scored in the first quarter. Manning with his usual action at the line of scrimmage. A flag down the give to James Monroe, the rookie from Syracuse, undrafted free agent from Detroit, picked up by Indianapolis, as they are so short in running backs. Dominic Rhodes, who rushed for over 1,100 yards last year, out in spring ball or in summer ball with a knee surgery. They lost Chiron Stith, rookie Brian Allen, Edgerrin James on the sidelines, Ricky Williams on the sidelines today. So they have been able to reach very deeply into the kettle to come up with this undrafted rookie.
Oh, they had to borrow a kettle. They were using
98 defense. That's a 5-yard penalty.
Their kettle was completely empty.
Here's the starting lineup offensively for the Indianapolis Colts with Tariq Glenn, the big guy at left tackle.
Our keys to the game will be to establish somewhat of a running game so we can have the balance of a play action and drop back in our running game, and also to get off to a faster start and score some points on our earlier drives so we can keep the game even on the field.
The Colts took the penalty, 1st and 5 at the 21. Monroe breaks into the clear, and a good move at the 40. One man to beat. He's at the 40, all the way to the Eagle 30-yard line. James Monroe. The knock against this young running back, despite his great numbers at Syracuse and in high school, was he didn't have speed. But he hit the hole quickly, and did he shoot through the secondary, 49 yards.
Look at this blocking right at the line of scrimmage. You can see the Eagles really crowded the line of scrimmage. And boy, he got the blocking, and Brian Dawkins misread it. Normally, that's a tackle that Dawkins will make as he comes up in support. Great blocking by DeMulling, Saturday, and Deem.
Monroe again tries outside, and you see not the speed to really get completely around the corner. Gains 3. Let's look at the Eagles starting defense, ranked in the top 5 both against the run and against the pass. Douglas leads in sacks with 6. The linebackers Barber, Kirkland, and Ike Reese for the injured Carlos Emmons. And in the secondary, arguably the best in the NFL, Vincent, and Taylor at the corners, Dawkins, and the veteran Blaine Bishop from Tennessee at safety.
And I'm sure this defense right now is not believing that they allowed a rookie who had his first NFL carries last week to already bring the Colts into pretty good field position.
Longest run of the year for the Colts, and I would suspect the longest against the defense of the Eagles. Jim Finn, the fullback, was the target, manning a little high with the throw. And for the Eagles, they had allowed a run of 20 yards or more only twice in 8 games. And the young kid, Monroe, announces his presence.
Peyton Manning with a look downfield.
3rd down and 7. Manning, usual histrionics before the snap. Some of it is real call, some is not. Underneath, he finds Marvin Harrison. The brilliant wide receiver has his first catch today. His 70th, that's right, 70th catch here at midterm.
That does not compute. That does not compute. 70 receptions. How about this duo? The 51 touchdowns, the best active duo in the National Football League right now. Ever since Peyton Manning arrived in Indianapolis, Marvin Harrison was sitting here waiting for him, and like a gift under the tree on Christmas morning. Wow, what a duo, what a team they've been.
Here's the delay handoff, and Monroe able to barrel up the middle to the 10-yard line and a gain of about 8 yards. He's built like Priest Holmes at 5'9" and 214 pounds. Grew up about an hour and a half from here in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. His first NFL game was as a fan here, cheering for his Eagles. He loved Randall Cunningham and Jerome Brown. The Lions had him, and he had a good summer. He led the Lions in rushing in the preseason, but was one of those last cuts, and the Colts gobbled him up, and they're glad they did.
One thing for the Eagles defensively, Blaine Bishop has come off the field. He's over on their sideline being looked at by the trainers.
2nd and 3, and a big block out front. He fumbled the ball, and the Eagles recover at the 1-yard line and then fall into the end zone. This will be an interesting call. It was covered at the 1.
Well, it depends if he was down in the field of play. They changed the rule. If the impetus of the ball took you into the end zone, it won't be a safety.
Brian Dawkins recovered at the 1. At first, it appeared he had control and then fell into the end zone looking for the touchback. Now let's see how the officials call it.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by Philadelphia at the 1-yard line. His momentum carried him into the end zone. We will put the ball on the 1, first down.
So,
that is a play that 2 years ago that would have been a safety.
James Monroe disappointed, just a yard away from a touchdown to give his team the lead, and some terrific runs, only to be knocked free from the football. Deuce Staley barely got out of his own end zone. The Colts are calling for a safety, but he did get to the 1-yard line. Let's go back to the fumble, and what a hit by the replacement of Blaine Bishop.
Yeah, we had just noted that Bishop was out of the game. Michael Lewis, number 32, puts his helmet right on the football. And Brian Dawkins, in the act of falling on the ball, ends up in the end zone. Now, how close did Deuce come to getting out? His feet never made it out of the end zone, and the officials ruled that the football did. I would consider that ball at the 1-yard line a most generous spot.
It's actually beyond the 1. Now the long throw downfield incomplete, looking for James Thrash, who picked up double coverage. Walt Harris and Dries Bashir.
And I don't think that's an overthrow by McNabb. He read the double coverage, realized he had no chance of completing that. And he just launched that. That wasn't a poor throw. That was actually a very smart throw.
Back to the fumble by the Colts. They said that they've been self-destructing. That's the 10th turnover in the last 3 games plus this quarter. And they've fallen behind 20-0 to Tennessee, 20-0 to Washington, 21-0 to Pittsburgh. Tough to come back.
Well, and the real problem was that they showed a lot of success doing what nobody thought they could, running the ball.
Here's Staley again, and he gets maybe a yard, and so on 3rd and 10, just a yard pickup, and the punting team on, and the pressure will be on veteran Sean Landeta in his 250th game in the NFL. And he had 3 other years where he played in the USFL. The veteran from Towson State, 40 years old, will be kicking from a short distance, usually 15 yards behind the snapper. He's got about 12.5 yards.
A lot of pressure here. Every mistake is magnified by the shorter distance between the center and punter.
Troy Walters deep. Beautiful kick. Walters at the 48. Tackled at the 43 of the Eagles. Good coverage. Brian Mitchell down on the coverage for the tackle, and we have a timeout in Philadelphia.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile. Get more minutes, more features, more service. And by Burger King. Now for a limited time, get the new Extreme Bacon and Cheese Whopper at Burger King. At BK, you got it.
And welcome back to Philadelphia. The Eagles 6-2 first half of the season, have an opening field goal, but with good field position, the Colts start at the Philadelphia 43-yard line and pulling their last possession away at the 1. Monroe in the backfield, the only runner with 3 wides for Manning. Fake to Monroe. And the throw to the sideline, and it's complete to Marvin Harrison, who always seems to be open. 3-0 here in Philadelphia. Let's go to New York and Jim Nance.
All right, thank you so much, Dick. And here's an update on San Diego and St. Louis. The pass complete here for the Rams. However, the ball knocked loose, and Ryan McNeil, on one hop, he'll scoop it up, and he's driven it into the end zone. 7-7 at St. Louis. Back to Dick and Dan.
A Charger certainly missed Rodney Harrison last week against the Jets. He makes his presence felt in St. Louis. And congratulations, Jim, on your honor at the University of Houston as Monroe is down at the 25-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down and 3. Tonight on CBS, Oscar winner William Hurt stars as FBI agent Robert Hansen. It's a true story of the worst traitor in American history. Find out why he did it and the evidence that gave him away. CBS television event Master Spy, Robert Hansen story tonight on CBS, America's most watched network. 2nd and 4. 4 minutes left in this opening quarter. Manning, quick throw. What a catch by Qadry Ismail as he stretches out in front of Blaine Bishop, who was returned at safety for Philadelphia. Ismail off his best ever season last year in Baltimore when he caught 74 balls.
Well, this is something the Colts are going to try to do. They know Philadelphia is going to rotate to the other side of the field to Marvin Harrison, leaving Ismail with single coverage here at the weak side. And that's exactly what they get. They take advantage of the fact that Al Harris can't quite get over there in time. And that was a superb piece of eye-hand coordination there by Ismail catching that ball. That was a laser.
First down at the 13. Monroe. And he's finding running room, whether he goes inside or tackle to tackle, and that time off tackle before Ike Reese could make the stop, as this young man from the Philadelphia area undoubtedly excited about this opportunity, playing against his childhood favorite team and his first ever professional start right here at Veterans Stadium.
I thought the funniest line of the weekend was by Peyton Manning last week when Monroe came into the game. Peyton Manning said, I thought he was on the practice squad.
What are you doing in here?
After Jim Finn got hurt last week after 6 plays, Monroe's in the huddle.
2nd and 3. Monroe, touchdown.
He's not on the practice squad. He's in the end zone.
Wow, how impressive the blocking and the running as James Monroe has his first NFL touchdown, and they're making it look too easy against this top-rated Eagle defense.
So the story coming in, how can the Colts run against this great Eagle defense without Edger and James? Well, they do it with outstanding blocking by the offensive line, by Marcus Pollard, the tight end, and by Finn and Detron Smith, the two fullbacks. That's how they're doing it. They're just blocking the heck out of the Eagles.
Edger and James likes it, and you could see Monroe is going to take that football home and put it in a special spot. Vanderchat with the extra point, and a shocking couple of drives by the Colts as they are running untouched against this Philly defense. It's 7-3. Led by the running of James Monroe, who has 84 yards in this first quarter, the most allowed by the Eagle defense all season to a runner, and he's done it in less than a quarter. Ryan Mitchell, who has 12 kick return touchdowns in his career, tied for the NFL lead, doesn't get close to one there as he's covered at the 28-yard line. Well, this week, log on to NFL.com as Phil Simms will be picking him up and laying him down as he offers his thoughts on the worst and most annoying cliches. Whoops. That you hear during game telecasts. I wonder if Oh My will make that list. I can't wait to see. It's all at NFL.com or on America Online.
I wouldn't put up with that if I were you.
Well, I'm going to check
a young upstart like that. If he takes a shot at you, I'll stand up for you.
All right, we're ready, shoulder to shoulder.
You got it.
All of you and a little bit of me.
I'm used to it.
First down at the 28 for the Eagles. Into the flag, complete, and an immediate hit on Cecil Martin, the fullback. Johnson, who rarely gets a chance to touch the ball. He has one carry all year and only 7 catches coming in. Rob Morris, the tackler.
Well, so far, as Dick mentioned, it's all been James Monroe. But look, he took a couple big hits so far here in the first quarter, and it looks like he's clutching his right hip area of his upper thigh. Yeah, that hurt. As that'll leave a mark.
Autry Denson's the only other back available, and they just picked him up this week on the waiver wire. And Donovan McNabb again forced to throw that one away as Brad Scioli and Dwight Freeney with the pressure. No pressure here. We go to New York.
Well, Dick and Dan, pay close attention to this one. John Kitna intercepted by the Ravens right here. Ed Reed, the rookie, and watch the return and the celebration. Our celebration expert, Dion, will have comments at halftime about this right here. It's strip free and in the end zone, recovered by the Bengals. No score there on that play. 7-7, though, in the game. Let's go back to Dan.
Oh, does that just turn your stomach if you're a coach, a fan, a teammate? Oh,
it's one way to make every highlight reel.
The throw incomplete, intended for Todd Pinkston on the sidelines, and boy, the Eagles starting to hear boos. The 6-2 first place team. Fans not happy with the start of the offense today.
No, you're right. No way to mistake that. There was a smattering of boos. I think right now the Indianapolis Colts are proving something, Dick. They're getting paid to play this game too, and they're professionals. And anyone here who thought they were going to come in here and roll over, obviously a big mistake.
Troy Walters back to field. Sean Landetta's punt. Punted for about 30 miles in his career. Back to the 19. Nice move. And he pays the price at the 28-yard line. That's Michael Lewis, the man who jarred the ball free from Monroe down on the goal line, who makes another tough open field tackle. Monday, it's an all-new late show. Listen to this. Dave welcomes the one and only Robin Williams Monday night, plus from CSI Miami, Emily Proctor. And Tuesday, don't miss, Dallas Cowboys, Emmitt Smith. It's all the late show with David Letterman right here on CBS, America's most watched network.
Well, bad news there for Indianapolis. James Monroe is on the sidelines. He's not out there with the Colts.
Detron Smith and Jim Finn, 2 blocking fullbacks in the backfield. The throw downfield complete to Marcus Pollard, the tight end, has his first catch, his 25th of the year. Well, you talk about one position being struck with an inordinate amount of injuries. Look at that.
And that doesn't even include Dominic Rhodes, who ran for over 1,000 yards last year. These are just the guys that have been hurt during the season. They lost Dominic Rhodes. They lost Brian Allen. They lost Chiron Stiff. All these guys during training camp. It's not funny. It has been a disaster at the running back position for the Colts.
So the pressure on Manning all the more. And caught in the backfield is Jim Finn, who played his college ball here in the city of brotherly love at the University of Pennsylvania. 7th-round draft pick. Suffered a concussion early in the game last week when they lost to Tennessee.
Well, Mungro is on the bench because of some devastating hits by this Eagle defense. Michael Lewis with the hit that knocked loose the fumble that the Eagles recovered at the 1, and on his touchdown on Levon Kirkland right at the goal line, a blow-up hit at the goal line that might have been what really sent Mungro to the bench.
Well, he's back in there now. Let's see how well he can run. 2nd down and 13. Pump. Manning has a man open. Harrison, and Harrison down the sidelines for a touchdown. Oh my, he's done it again. His 69th touchdown reception. That's just one away from Raymond Berry's Colts record.
In his hometown, Marvin Harrison, who's from right here in Philadelphia. He's got hundreds of people here at the game. And Peyton Manning, yeah, he takes a hit at the end, but that was after the pump that got Blaine Bishop and Troy Vincent both to underplay the ball. Bishop late getting over, and Marvin Harrison showing speed that a lot of guys don't realize that he has. They know how deceptive he is, but when he gets a chance to be in the open, few guys in this league are going to catch him.
Vanderjagt with the extra point. A 57-yard touchdown throw. Peyton Manning to Marvin Harrison. What a combination they are. That's the end of the first quarter here in Philadelphia. The Colts, surprisingly, leading the Eagles 14-3. We'll return to Veterans Stadium right after this message. In the last 3 losses, the Colts have not scored in the first quarter. Outscored 34-0. They've turned it around today 14-3. And Harrison with a typical play. Manning seeing that blitz, able to read it well, get it off just in time, and Harrison with his speed. 57 yards for the touchdown, the longest pass completion against the Eagles this year. Brian Mitchell, short kickoff. And he's out across the 30 to the 33. Cliff Crosby with a tackle.
Let's go ahead and look at that. Here's Marvin Harrison up here, who's really just going to go down. But the key guy here, Blaine Bishop, when he drops back, you're going to watch him take one step forward when the pump fake comes from Peyton Manning. Keep an eye on Blaine Bishop. His job is to get to that right there. That little stutter step delays him from getting over there and getting in on the play. He had that deep outside responsibility. Manning sold it with that little pump fake, and Marvin Harrison then had clear sailing down the sideline.
And on first down, they give it to Dorsey Levens, and Levens hit by Mike Peterson. And follow up on your point, when he took the one step, that's the one step he didn't have when he got to the sidelines and could have at least gotten Harrison out of bounds.
Well, one step in a position like that, when you take it forward, Dick, equates to about 3 or 4 steps on the other end of things. It gets magnified the longer you have, the farther you have to go. And that one step, it's not such a criticism of Bishop as give credit to Peyton Manning, even in the face of that blitz, the way he sold that play.
On 2nd and 8, McNabb steps away from pressure, and his first carry of the day, 40, 50 and out of bounds at the Colts 49-yard line. Donovan McNabb, that sends him over 400 yards rushing on the season.
Well, Donovan McNabb, first of all, is there to pass, and he is surveying the field. He's looking, and boy, the decision, though, is quick. You'll see a lot of quarterbacks that sit back there, and you can tell they're in that no man, that gray area. Do I run? Do I throw? Well, he makes a decision quickly. As we look at the rushing that he's done the last 4 games. 2 of those games over 100 yards. For a quarterback, that's unheard of.
I want to see that graphic again, because along with that, he has a touchdown in 4 straight games. Should he score a rushing touchdown today, it would be an NFL record. And look at the names. Landry was a big guy. Hostetler was big. Stewart is big.
Where'd this
Pat
guy
Hayden,
come from?
That big bull, high-stepping, overpowering the defense. That shocked me, but Hayden had 4 straight games of the Rams where he rushed for a touchdown.
They had to be sneaks. They had to be 6 inchers.
Well, the quarterback rushes, he called them. He just... I think Rich Saul carried him on his shoulders. McNabb firing down the middle. And it's Todd Pinkston, the guy they call Slim, for his 6'2", 174-pound frame. And it's a first down at the Colts 26.
Todd Pinkston's been nursing a bit of a banged-up wrist, but this is an easy ball to catch, because look where it ends up. Right in his stomach. He leaps for it, and that was a perfect strike by Donovan McNabb. That's almost an impossible route to defend, Dick, when it's thrown that accurately.
Well, that was really whistled by McNabb, and Pinkston now with 31 catches on the year. Trailing 14-3, first down at the 26. Tight end Lewis in motion. McNabb chased out of the pocket. Plants and throws back across the field, incomplete. They had 2 Eagles there and only David Gibson to cover, but the ball couldn't find either one. And a dangerous cross-field pass.
And I'm still not sure which one that he was throwing to. Deuce Staley was the short guy. And I don't mean short in stature. He was the one closest to McNabb, as he ends up on the ground afterwards. But that is, even for a guy of his skill level, that is unbelievably risky, throwing it all the way back across the field like that. Very seldom does that work out to be a positive.
On 2nd and 10, the handoff is to Dorsey. Levens gets a good block, heads to the sidelines, close to a first down at the 16-yard line before David Macklin, the cornerback, can bump him off the field of play.
Now, what a nice pickup Dorsey Levens has been for the Eagles. Of course, there's history there. Andy Reid, when he was in Green Bay, was when Dorsey Levens was running at his very best in the National Football League, and knowing the kind of guy he is, the way he worked, and knowing the role he would play on this team, Andy Reid didn't hesitate in picking up Levens.
They say he stepped out shy of the 16, so it's 3rd down and less than a yard. Levens, and it's Donovan McNabb, who just bowls it forward off the sneak to the 15 and a first down. McNabb this year on 3rd and 1, as that was, is 7 for 7. Just give it to him, and he's 240. The program weight is 226. He admitted he's bulked up to 240 pounds.
Yeah, it's time to change that. It's been a slow process. He's done it over the last couple of years, where he has worked very hard in the weight room to add a lot of muscle from the waist up, and he is a legit 240 pounds. Almost not fair when you can run like that and weigh that much.
And the handoff to Levens, who is tripped up as he hits the line of scrimmage, as Josh Mallard, the rookie from Georgia, 7th-round pick, able to get a hand on him.
Mallard should have gone to Oregon.
Yeah, he should have. What if they recruited him, the Ducks?
Would have been perfect. Well, you can see that everybody's getting a chance to run the football for the Eagles today. The decent yardage, but that right column all goose eggs.
They say his knee hit Levens' knee at the 15, so it's 2nd and 10 with Antonio Freeman in motion. Underneath, they hit him. And tackled immediately is James Thrash from Missouri Southern, where he followed the exploits of Rod Smith, now with the Broncos.
Another key free agent pickup, Thrash from the Washington Redskins. They signed him last year, and he's a guy that I think, as he demonstrated there, not afraid to go into heavy traffic to handle the football. Even though he's 6 feet tall, which isn't real tall, he's a very legitimate 200 pounds. So he's a tough, big, strong guy.
Red zone has been faltering for the Eagles. 3rd and 1. What do you think they'll do here? No, he doesn't sneak. They give it to Deuce Staley, and with 2nd effort, he didn't make it. David Gibson, the safety, came in quickly and made the hit in the backfield. And
I'm not even sure he got back to the line of scrimmage, Dick.
It's 4th down, and Andy Reid admits he's a gambling sort. Would he pass up the field goal here?
Deuce Staley finds the hole clogged, and if he made it to the line of scrimmage, it was barely there. And so much for Andy Reid saying, well, maybe I gambled a little too much in going for it. Here we go again. And I think McNabb either doesn't have the right personnel or doesn't like something, because he takes the timeout.
4th and 1. We'll see whether they stay with the play or go for the field goal when we return to Veterans Stadium. A dicey call for Andy Reid, the Eagles coach. He had 5 4th and 1s last week, and on one occasion the Bears stuffed the Eagles, and that kept them within a touchdown late in the game. They're going for it here as McNabb rolling and looking, throws back, incomplete to Staley, and the Colts take over on downs. And this Indianapolis team of Tony Dungy has come in here ready to play.
I think Andy Reid just finds it irresistible at that part of the ball to field not to go for it, Dick, because of one reason. I don't believe he thinks his defense could allow Indianapolis to go 95 yards for a score.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Ford. No boundaries. MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. And by the United States Marine Corps. For 227 years of faithful service, thank you, Marines. Happy birthday.
And so the Colts able to stop the Eagles at the 6-yard line, taking over on downs. And that means Philadelphia now only 2 touchdowns in their last 14 red zone chances. Manning typically barking out those signals after setting his line. Brings Reggie Wayne in motion. Tells him to keep going. And gives to Monroe to the 9-yard line. A pickup of 3. Troy Vincent slashing in to make the tackle.
Let's go back and look at the 4th down play. Here's David Gibson right here, the strong safety as he gets upfield. Deuce Staley back here is the guy that when he gets to the outside should pin him back to the inside. But watch how Gibson fights through the block, and he's the guy that's in the face of Donovan McNabb. Mike Peterson then gets over to the other side, but that was one sensational effort by David Gibson to keep McNabb from doing what he wanted to do.
Jim Finn and James Monroe behind Manning, and it's Monroe again. Hit in the backfield. It's slashing through is Brandon Whiting, the defensive end from California.
Defensive linemen love to get upfield rather than just being in that read and react position that some defensive schemes put them in. But Jim Johnson's scheme, upfield, get penetration, be a disruptive force, and that's exactly what Brandon Whiting did right there. And here comes the crowd at the vet.
Whiting, who played for his father at Long Beach Poly High School, broke down film with his dad, and Jim Johnson calls him one of the brightest defensive players I've ever coached. 3rd and long from the 5, and Manning from his own end zone. Throws the screen to Monroe. Monroe to the 10 and toppled at the 15, 2 yards short of a first down by Brian Dawkins, and he took that hit on the thigh again and trouble getting up. Oh, he is in pain.
Well, James Monroe is trying awfully hard. This screen was set up very nicely. You see the blockers out in front, but you notice that both of them end up having to try to block on the outside. And here, let's watch the end of the hit. And I think all of you would agree that hurts. That hurts. Get your legs cut out from under you like that, and then you come down and land hard. And this is not a very forgiving floor here at the vet.
Hunter the punter. Hunter Smith, the low wobbler. Mitchell can return this one from the 46. 50. And tackled at the 46 of Indianapolis. So Donovan McNabb and the Eagles will start in Colts territory. Detron Smith credited for the tackle. 40-yard punt. 8 on the return. 14-3 Indianapolis. The Colts have shocked this Philadelphia defense with the longest pass against them this year. 57-yard touchdown Manning to Harrison, and the longest run. James Monroe, the rookie, rambling 49 yards in the first quarter before finally fumbling at the 1-yard line. And now the Eagles take over at the Indianapolis 46. Under 7 to go in the half as McNabb throws into the flat, complete. And spinning away is Cecil Martin, the fullback from Wisconsin, and picks up nearly a first down before James Canada, the tackle, can retreat and make the tackle from behind. And a reminder, this is the first half of our CBS doubleheader today, and 2 attractive late games. The Chiefs and San Francisco, 2 high-scoring teams out at Candlestick, and New England goes to Evanston, Illinois to play the Chicago Bears. Now stay with us here. A big day of football on CBS. It's 2nd and 2.
The Kansas City-Frisco game, that ought to be a shootout.
Again is to Dorsey Levens, and he's able to pick up the first down and more inside the 30-yard line before Macklin can get him out of bounds.
Well, this is where Andy Reid, I'm sure, would like to flex his muscles offensively with the big line, the big back, and let's pound away. This is really an undersized Colt defensive football team. They don't have much in the way of big, heavy guys. We used to say a guy with a lot of lead in his pants that could really anchor a defensive line. They're kind of small, and Tony's trying to improve the team speed, and you can see right here the Colts are the ones that end up having to take a timeout.
So Indianapolis spends its first. Philadelphia had to use one earlier. It's 14-3 for the Ponies.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by TD Waterhouse. All the tools and services to keep you in control of your finances. And by Radio Shack. This month only, you'll find great deals on home entertainment products only at Radio Shack.
Well, the Colts had to take a timeout because they had 12 guys on the field. Right there, that is rookie Josh Mallard. And boy, is he making an effort to get off the field.
Trying to save a timeout.
Unfortunately, by that time, his teammates had already called a timeout. Hey, you get an F for being on the field, but you get an A for effort in trying to get off.
First down at 10. Eagles at the 27. McNabb complete to Pinkston. And Todd Pinkston with a nice move and down to the 10-yard line. Finally wrapped up by David Gibson. David Macklin had trouble corralling him.
Yes, he did. David Macklin was the guy who had the first shot on Pinkston. And, you know, you see a lot of wide receivers in this day and age. They catch the ball. Their momentum like that is carrying them towards the sidelines. But no, that he's going to come back to the middle. And boy, that was 2 missed tackles forced by the elusiveness of Todd Pinkston. And again, very slender, but obviously not afraid to take a hit.
They can get a first down without a touchdown, so it's not first and goal as Dorsey Levens able to pick up a yard or 2. Brad Scioli and James Canada, 2 defensive linemen, and on the stop. Clock ticking down under 5 minutes here at the Vet. First half where the Colts offer a surprise to the favored Eagles, leading 14-3. This is a big possession for Andy Reid's offense.
And you saw Brad Scioli, who had to move inside to play tackle. Dick documented early all the injuries to the Colts defensive line. They are all playing in all different positions. They're demonstrating a little versatility today.
Levens in motion out of the backfield. McNabb tempted around, throws incomplete. James Thrash, and he almost burned his hands with that fastball. He threw it right through his hands.
James Thrash had to go uh-oh when he saw Donovan McNabb get a chance to wind up the way he did.
Look at he's almost leaning back and bracing himself to catch that one.
The ball is a little behind Thrash. That ball should have been, you know, Donovan wishes, I know that he wishes it would have been caught, but I think he also wishes that he would have led Thrash with the football and thrown it down a little bit. That was not the best of throws by Donovan McNabb.
So it's 3rd down and 9. Dump it off to Cecil Martin. Martin hit hard and tackled at the 3-yard line, or make it Brian Westbrook. Westbrook, the rookie.
Deja vu. Here we go again, and now here comes the field goal team.
Well, this time he's going to go field goal. So if here's where you second guess already. Well, if you'd gone for the field goal before, it'd be 14-6. Now another one makes it 14-9. But they'll be with an 8-pointer if he makes this one.
Well, he had about a full yard before. What do you think he has now? About a yard and a half? little closer to 2 yards to pick up the first down here or get in the end zone.
Well, put nothing past Reed. He loves fakes on kick formation, and Detmer, the backup quarterback, so holding fumble the snap, but is able to get it down, and Akers a great job of getting it through.
Oh, I think 1 out of 10 times where you see a mishap like that end up with a converted field goal. That was excellent work.
Well, Coy Detmer's handwork saving 3 points for the Eagles.
Yeah, the snap hits him right in the hands, but then he drops it. But look at how quickly he gets it spotted back, and even with the laces not spun, facing the kicker, David Akers stays with it. Boy, like a good golfer that stays down on his swing and swings through it. His foot was going through underneath Detmer's hand, whether there was anything there or not. And luckily, Detmer, with some real quickness with his hands, got this ball spotted for Akers.
The good news then for Philadelphia is the 3 points, but the bad news is 3 red zone trips today. No touchdowns, 2 field goals. Autry Denson, the newest Colt, fields the ball at the 8. Notre Dame's all-time rushing leader, tackled at the 25-yard line. B squared, what do you have for us?
All right, well, Dick, maybe one of the reasons why the Colts have had so much success against the Eagles defense, guess who's running the defensive scout team that gives Manning all of those looks Philly might be throwing at him? That would be the head coach. And Tony Dungy, he's been doing this since he was in Tampa. He says, you know, it kind of forces them to work harder, you know, because the head coach is there. And he said the other flip side, a lot of those players who don't get a lot of playing time during the game, I really get to watch and see what they're doing. So if we do have to move them up to first team, I know exactly what they can do.
Yeah, it's a different strategy. He learned it from Dennis Green when he was an assistant to Green with the Minnesota Vikings. 26-yard line, first down for Manning. Monroe staggering as he tried to get off the blocks, didn't get that quick start, picks up a yard. Tonight on 60 Minutes, folks, it's the most contaminated site in America, Anniston, Alabama. And who did it? Well, you'll find out tonight on 60 Minutes after the second game of our CBS football doubleheader here in the East at the regular 7 o'clock time in the West.
Well, the Colts are telling us that there's no specific injury to James Monroe, but it seems at the end of the last couple of series, he's looked worse for wear as he's headed for the Colts bench, but he's still giving it a go.
Manning, good protection, fires incomplete through the hands of Marvin Harrison, and Harrison won't drop many of those.
Now that ball was high and hot as well. I think there's that's another throw that Peyton Manning, just like we saw Donovan McNabb on the Eagles' last possession, I think Peyton would like to throw that one over.
You talk about Harrison, and you see how slender he is at 6 feet 175. We asked him what his waist size was. 29. Here's a man playing in the NFL, a superstar, 29-inch waist.
Last time I had that, I was 6.
6 days.
Now, Peyton Manning ran out of time.
So that leaves Indianapolis with 1 timeout remaining here in the opening half, but the Colts lead it 14-6. Just under 3 minutes left in this opening half, and the Colts and Peyton Manning engineering a 14-6 lead against the Philadelphia Eagles and are staring at 3rd down and 8. And this is where that Eagle defense loves to blitz. You wonder who's coming. 3rd and 8 or longer. Opponents have only converted 3 times out of 42.
Well, the one thing you wonder who's coming, the one thing you know, somebody's coming.
Boy, they pick it up beautifully, and the throw complete to Harrison and a first down at the 38-yard line. Troy Vincent, the all-pro corner, 3 times a Pro Bowler the last 3 seasons, made the tackle.
Boy, you have to be disciplined to play offense on this Colts team because Peyton Manning keeps them down in their stance for a long time. But he knows what he's doing. They do it in practice every day, and more often than not, he guides them into the right play, just like that last one.
Monroe, of course,
look how long they have to stay in their stances, Dick.
And you've got a running back who really doesn't know all the plays. They give it to him straight ahead to the 40-yard line, a pickup of 2. That'll take these 2 teams down to the 2-minute timeout. But let's update Harrison's totals. 4 more catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Marvin Harrison, who leads the National Football League. 14-6 Indianapolis. And welcome back to Philadelphia, where the underdog Colts lead 14-6. The 2 losses suffered by Philadelphia to 2 AFC teams, and folks starting to wonder about that. Tennessee and Jacksonville.
2 teams from the AFC South, and
right.
Here's their 3rd team from the AFC South. And Andy Reid said, I don't want to hear anything about that. He said 6-2. I'm upset. We should be 8-0. That's how good this Eagles team is in the eyes of their head coach, although they certainly haven't demonstrated it here in the first half so far of this game. The Colts, hey, this is why we did the Jets and the Chargers last week. We saw it last week. Nothing ought to surprise us.
It is at the 40-yard line, and Manning moves under center on 2nd down and 8 and gives to Monroe. And he finds running room, and he's into Eagle territory and a first down at the 45-yard line. Remember, the Colts have just 1 timeout left in the half. 12 carries, 101 yards for James Monroe from Syracuse University. A lot of Syracuse orange in this game today. Underneath, batted down, and Harrison was open on a crossing pattern. Corey Simon, who has played some very good defensive tackle, up to batted down.
The more you're around this league, the more you realize that nothing in this game is predictable. The Eagles haven't given 100 yards to a running back all season long. And so when they do give up 100 yards, it's to an unheralded rookie making his first start, who does it in the first half of the game.
You have to go back to the playoffs. Marshall Faulk is the last.
How does that happen? Well, the crowd starts to go crazy when Manning does this.
They pick up the blitz. Manning scrambles and slides at the 42 or 3. They'll probably mark it at the 43. Ike Reese there to cover.
And Manning will preserve that final timeout. And they can't just spike the ball, because on 3rd down here, they need something to pick up the first down. So there's a little communication having to go on here.
They're out of Mike Vanderjagt's range now. Figured from 50, and the throw is incomplete and broken up. Kadri Ismail, Al Harris, regarded by the Eagles as their 3rd starting corner because he's that good. Excellent on man coverage, able to break that one up.
Well, that was all timing by Al Harris, because he makes the contact the second the ball arrives. That's just sensational coverage by Harris on Ismail. That was a well-thrown ball, but Harris just, there's no way that Kadri could pull that thing in, not getting hit that hard the moment the ball gets there.
Hunter Smith, the punt it to Brian Mitchell, bobbles the ball, and then is able to squirt one off the side of his foot that Mitchell will let go out of bounds inside the 15-yard line.
Ends up being a sensational punt.
1 minute exactly left for Donovan McNabb and the Eagles to try to get more points. Coming up, the Nextel halftime report, and there's a lot of interesting news, scores and highlights, and Jim Dion, Dan Boomer, special guest Bills wide receiver Eric Moulds will have it all for you coming up on the Nextel halftime report.
This has been an extremely fast first half of play.
No penalties, much in contrast to the Bears-Eagles game last week.
A lot of running plays, and this thing is zoomed along.
Yeah, let's see. McNabb has 2 timeouts in his wallet. And back to throw. Scrambles, hit in the backfield, and throws it away. And had the referee decided to throw a flag, that would have been a safety.
Yes, it would have been.
He was being tackled in the end zone by our man, the flying duck, Josh Mallard.
A flag does come in, but this was thrown downfield. Only the referee can call intentional grounding. So when you see the flag in his pocket, that's not a problem. Ineligible man downfield, though, is a problem for the Eagles.
That'll be half the distance. We'll take it to the 6-yard line. Andy Reid, one of the most popular coaches with the media around the country, and you can see why when you chat with him. He went to BYU.
Ineligible receiver, number 71 downfield. The penalty is declined. 2nd down.
And on Friday night, he was like any other father. He was concerned about his senior son in high school, Britt, playing his last home game. Couldn't wait to see his kid play. But apparently, all-city performer, lineman, and might well go on to a major school program.
I hope he does. Of course, he's got the genes.
McNabb throws underneath, and it's complete in the field of play. And what a hit by rookie David Thornton from North Carolina as he drops Deuce Staley.
Yeah, Andy was telling us that most of his son's games come on Friday night, sometimes Saturday afternoon, so he's had a chance to see almost all of them.
Third down and a short three, and McNabb letting the clock run here. Fans don't like that. Listen. Down to 16-15. Short pass. Oh, almost bobbled and pushed forward into the lap of the Colts defense as Nick Carper came up on Chad Lewis, the tight end.
You're looking at over 80 yards to go. I think Andy Reid is just saying, you know what, we haven't played well this half. I'm willing to go in down by 8 points, and I'll just regroup my club at halftime. And you know, if they want to boo, let them boo.
What a picture of frustration, Donovan McNabb. It's 14-3 at the half. Coming up next, the Nextel halftime report. On this Veterans Day weekend, the Indianapolis Colts leading Philadelphia 14-6. It was this date in history that the Marine Corps, a bill encouraged by the U.S. President John Adams, was adopted on this date 227 years ago. The U.S. Marines. Ready for the second and a half with the Colts in front by 8. Indianapolis Colts leading 14-6, and Peyton Manning, Dan told us yesterday, said, you know, without Edgerrin James, no running game. They don't respect the play action. It takes a lot away from our offense.
I'm not sure many people thought that the Colts could run the football like this against Eagles, Dick, against maybe Tony Dungy and Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, but James Mungro, what a half he has had, over 100 yards. Made a little history there, huh?
That one of 6 in Colts history, including Alan Amici and Marshall Faulk, to rush for 100 yards in their first game in the NFL.
But you look at these stats, it's key. These two right here, you know, you've got the Colts right there, the Eagles rather, who've had 36 plays, but somehow have come up with only 58 yards rushing. And the Colts already over 100, even though they've run far fewer plays than the Eagles have. So a shocking first half. And I can understand Andy Reid at the end of that first half saying, look, let's just get out of here. Let me get my team into the locker room. Let me get them to stabilize a little bit and come back and start playing the kind of football that we normally play.
For a whole game.
Yeah, those are whole games.
121 yards, and Mungro had 101 himself in the first half.
Yeah, third best team in the league against the run. Nobody'd run over 100 yards against this team so far this year. And now Mungro has done it. And I think at the beginning of the season, if you were picking names of who the first back would be to go over 100 yards against the Eagles.
Bingo. Hey,
I'm not sure that James Mungro would have been a lottery pick.
Bring on the Brinks truck. You win. Audrey Denson, the newest Colt, signed on Tuesday. He's not been on a roster all season. Accepts that kickoff from Akers and takes it out to the 29-yard line. Let's go down to Bronny.
Well, I think we're all pretty curious as to what kind of halftime adjustments Andy Reid is going to make, but he's so angry. This is how angry he is. Normally, pretty amicable guy, didn't want to have anything to do with me coming out of the half. Tony Dungy on the other side, extremely pleased with the pay. Peyton Manning has been picking up the Eagles' ever-blitzing defense and also finding ways to run James Mungro away from the blitz. One of the big reasons why you've got an undrafted rookie free agent, number 6, on the Colts depth chart, who's got over 100 yards and 1 touchdown, Dick.
All right, thanks, Bonnie. Yeah, Reid, he can get grumbly, and
don't take it personally.
No, his team gave him good reason to. Just a little flick to Mungro, and he darts out to the 40 and across the 40-yard line and a first down. Sean Barber and Ike Reese collaborate on the tackle.
One of the better matchups we've had all day. Here is Hugh Douglas going against Tariq Glenn, 2 premier players here. Tariq Glenn, one of the big tackles in this game, but very light on his feet, very athletic. Look how well he ties up Hugh Douglas. Hugh Douglas has been to the Pro Bowl the last couple of years. These two have never faced each other. And we'll see if we can't spotlight these guys a little bit in the second half.
Manning typically pointing, shouting, turning, calling at the line of scrimmage. Sometimes this is all window dressing, and then gives to Mungro. And only a yard or 2 at best into the center of that green jersey defense. Blaine Bishop supporting from his safety position. At the start today, the Colts, despite 3 straight losses, still held a share of first place in the AFC South with Tennessee. Jacksonville still in it. For that matter, Houston is.
Tennessee and Jacksonville, what do they have in common? They've both beaten the Eagles.
That's right. That's 28-25 Jacksonville. I'll check that. That wasn't the score. It was 27-24 Tennessee and 28-25 Jacksonville. That's right. Both games away from Veterans Stadium. 2nd down and 8. Nearly the same play. Monroe finds the outside and then is twisted off the field at the 45, where it'll be 3rd down and 5. Brian Dawkins, the Pro Bowl safety, with a tackle. Now look at the NFC East, where the Eagles had opened up a little breathing room. 2 games in front of the Giants in Washington. 3-0 in the division, important as well.
And the Giants and the Redskins now colossal Indianapolis Colts fan. If only for the day.
Here's 3rd and 5, and Manning is 8 for 12 passing today and 1 touchdown. 3 wide receivers. Goes over the middle, complete to Reggie Wayne, and the former Miami of Florida star has a 1st down in the arms of Sean Barber as he goes down in Eagle territory.
We're seeing a lot of efficiency out of this Colts offense. Tom Moore loves to run patterns out of clusters, and you can see they sent Marcus Pollard down the field, and Reggie Wayne comes in from behind. And one of the reasons other people are open is because Marvin Harrison is accounted for. With the exception of the touchdown, he's been accounted for.
From the 43, Monroe to the sidelines, and a gain of 3 before Dawkins and Vincent bump him out of bounds.
Brian Dawkins that we're looking at right there, he told us something interesting about Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, as we've documented, keeps his line down in their stance a long time, goes to the line with an alert, audible, more than most quarterbacks in this game. But Brian Dawkins says, hey, a lot of it's for show sometimes. We've seen him go out and yell at his wide receivers about all this and all that, and then they run a draw play. So some of it is a disguise.
There is the draw play, and it did not fool Hugh Douglas.
No. Ooh, and the crowd, very savvy, gives him the Hugh. Well, down in the 4-point stance, and this time he gets inside Tariq Glenn. Tariq Glenn's, if he can, would like to run Douglas up the field. Douglas didn't cooperate. It looked like he surprised Glenn with that hop to the inside.
He collects comic books, and he collects cars with high horsepower engines. He's got a Viper, 500 horsepower Viper on the way, and he plays with a high motor. Manning dumps it over the middle. Wide open is Wayne, and Wayne has a 1st down at the 28-yard line, and Brian Dawkins made the tackle, and Manning is finding his receivers running free.
Well, you know how you talk about a pass rusher getting out of his lane? I think all the Eagle pass rushers were in the same lane. They just got all pushed down into a big pile. Peyton Manning just stepped around the corner and had nobody in his face. Sensational blocking by the Colts offensive line, and they just gave Manning all the time in the world. Reggie Wayne runs a very slow pattern. Not that he's not running fast, but he comes all the way across the field, and Manning has all the time in the world to find him.
19 yards on the play to the 27 of the Eagles. Manning looks left, throws it wide open as Wayne for a touchdown, and what a look-off by Peyton Manning. Was that brilliant? He had everyone convinced he was going left. Almost appeared that he threw the ball, still looking left, and right down the middle to Wayne for the touchdown.
Well, this is just a complete blow by the Eagles secondary. Yep, it's a good pump fake, no doubt about that. But you still have to honor your side of the field. Take a look in the middle. That's Blaine Bishop, number 24. We saw at the bottom of our screen. And he is nowhere in sight.
27.
And a lot of people looking around trying to figure out whose responsibility that was.
27-yard touchdown, and that was one of those so wide open.
Yep.
Will I get it there? He threw a wobbler, but Wayne collects it for his 2nd touchdown of the year. Vanderchat adds the extra point, and things have become very serious now at Veterans Stadium. Third quarter. Colts 21, Eagles 6. Reggie Wayne with 3 catches on that drive, including the touchdown, 27 yards. As Manning, as you can see, was perfect, 4 for 4 coming out to start this second half. Kickoff by Vanderjagt. And Brian Mitchell another chance from the 5. Out to the 30. Into the clear. Vanderjagt trying to cut him off and does get to him, but not till Brian Mitchell is all the way to the Colts 36-yard line. That might be his longest of the year. He had a 49-yard return against Washington. That one 58 yards.
That's the anti-taunting going on right there.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37. Norelco, America's #1 selling electric razor. And by Cadillac, bold vehicles defying convention.
Summer-like day in Philadelphia. Temperature up in the high 60s on this November 10th as the Eagles take over in Philadelphia territory, and Deuce Staley is hit right at the line of scrimmage by that rookie from Syracuse, Dwight Freeney.
How many times over the years have we watched Brian Mitchell deliver for his team a big kickoff or punt return, and boy, did the Eagles need this. Tremendous blocking up front. Brian didn't even have to break a tackle. Then the very end, watch him hit Mike Vanderjagt right in the face with a stiff arm. And Vanderjagt and Brian Mitchell were talking to one another, but they were all smiles. Even though Vanderjagt took one in the chops.
2nd and 9, and McNabb out of the backfield and hit immediately as Cecil Martin. As coming up from the corner was David Macklin. And it's just a short gain. David Thornton on support.
Yeah, there at the very end, Vanderjagt going to Brian Mitchell. Well, you didn't hurt me. Yeah, Mike Vanderjagt, I guess cocky would be the word. He's not short of confidence. The guy always seems to have a smile on his face. Of course, it's easier when you're 6'5" and 215 pounds. You're a big guy.
He made the play, saved the touchdown. 3rd down, along 6. And Donovan McNabb scrambling, almost slipped down and fell. Fumbles the ball, and he's hit from behind. And the Colts don't have it yet.
Oh, my gosh, they're just standing there.
And they do now. As
Nick Harper almost made a legendary gaffe by standing there looking around. And you could see that coming, Dick, by the way McNabb was carrying the ball.
Freeney was the man again who has played a brilliant game, who hit McNabb from behind and forced the fumble.
See, from here on, Donovan's going to carry it just in the palm of that hand. He tried to switch it over to his left hand, and I'm not sure that he ever had a good look at it. Not a good look at it, but good control of the football. But Donovan, as he often does, carries that ball out away from his body rather than clutching it to his torso.
And Walt Harris alertly was able to pick up the ball that wasn't covered by one of his teammates. So the Colts stop the drive, hand it off to Munro. And he has short yardage out to the 13-yard line before big Levon Kirkland makes the tackle. And we mean big. As we talked to Hugh Douglas this week, Douglas said, hard to look back at a linebacker, and I'm 280 and know that the linebacker is bigger than I am. And the injured player is Kadri Ismail. And he's holding that left knee, not a good sign. We'll take a break here with 21-6 the score. The Colts in the lead in the 3rd. Kadri Ismail left under his own power. Didn't seem to be limping. 2nd down and 8. From the 14 for Peyton Manning and the Colts with a 21-6 lead here in Philadelphia. Dumps it into the flat to Jim Finn, and the fullback gains only a yard in the arms of Ike Reese.
Let's go back and take a look at this is Kadri Ismail right here. And take a look at what happens. He's trying to make a block, but Munro is going to end up falling right on his left knee. And luckily for Ismail, he was able to bail out. In other words, he had a place to go all the way down to the ground cleanly, and hopefully that minimized any strain on his knee.
Troy Walters replaces him as the third wide receiver in this formation. 3rd down and 8 for Manning. Pumps and throws. Up for grabs, out of bounds. Walters was the intended receiver, and Al Harris had him well covered. So the Eagle defense, a good job, and they pressured Manning on that throw.
Well, they showed blitz, and then they followed through with it. 6 guys coming, no way that in the empty backfield that one of them isn't going to come clean, and Ike Reese is the chosen one this time as he comes in and really delivers on Peyton Manning.
So with 7:22 left in this 3rd quarter, Hunter Smith to punt for the 3rd time. And ever dangerous Brian Mitchell. No one's ever returned kicks for more yards. Well over 16,000 yards in his career. He waits at the 42. Low line drive kick. He lets it bounce, and it goes right off his chest. And he's able to recover it, or does he? No, it's a free ball. And on the muff, it looks as if the Colts have the ball, or are they going to say he was down?
I think they're ruling that he was down, Dick.
Ooh, that was a quick call. Donnell Thompson was the defender for the Colts. We'll take another look at it.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by GMC. We are professional grade. And by Circuit City. We know the excitement you feel about the latest digital toys. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you.
That's what we're talking about. Part of the culture. Philadelphia cheesesteaks.
Group of folks doing what they do best. Eating.
And you tend to join them when you come here. McNabb looking deep downfield, and a sliding attempt incomplete as James Thrash trying to pick it off the turf. Walt Harris covering.
It was a good call by the official because Brian Mitchell, the ball caromed way up in the air. He gets possession of it, and then he goes down, and after he hits the ground, the ball comes loose well after he's down on the ground. So that was a good call by the official who was right there on the spot. I'm sure that ball was up in the air for what Brian thought was an awfully long time.
Yeah, that was a good recovery by him as the month could have created another turnover. Good throw by McNabb, and he finds Todd Pinkston for the 1st down over David Macklin, the Colts corner.
Boy, and Pinkston is having an awfully good game so far. Gets the inside release on Macklin, but Macklin's coverage, you got to admit, is awfully good. Not very often will you see a guy that has that kind of coverage with it ending up a completion. That's because the throw was excellent, but Pinkston's effort was even better.
He earns 20 yards for the catch. 3 for 57 today. From the Indianapolis 40, McNabb throws it behind Cecil Martin, incomplete. Brad Scioli, who played at Penn State, applying the pressure. Tonight on CBS, Oscar winner William Hurt will star as FBI agent Robert Hansen, the perfect FBI agent, perfect family man, also the worst traitor in U.S. history. It's his true story. Should be quite a television experience tonight. Master Spy, the Robert Hansen story, tonight on CBS, America's most watched network.
Boy, talk about getting a big-time actor. How about Academy Award winner William Hurt? I think he's sensational.
Good viewing tonight on CBS. The handoff is to Dorsey Levens. They had him in a pinch, the defensive line, but let him get away. And finally, Scioli, trailing the play, makes a tackle after a 9-yard gain. And down to Bonnie Bernstein we go.
Well, Dick, Dwight Freeney, the Colts rookie defensive end, a couple of forced fumbles today, certainly playing better than his rookie status. Tony Dungy compares him to a young John Randall at 6'1", 268. He said he has that same type of body type that Randall does, that explosive first step. He says he's relied a lot on his speed his entire career, so he's not quite that instinctive yet. But he said, I tell you what, playing on the turf at the RCA Dome, Dwight Freeney is a perfect fit for our defense.
Well, he's been perfect today. Came in with 4 sacks. McNabb able to get away from the pressure, now throws low and incomplete. Shuki Wakori just activated off the PUP list, physically unable to perform, and able to get in on McNabb and spoil the rhythm of that play.
Yeah, Donovan just delivered the ball into the dirt, but again, in the face of that pressure. He knew it the minute he released it. He just held on to it a little bit too long and just drove it right into the ground. And it's been that kind of a day for this Eagle offense, having trouble finding the end zone.
So on 4th down and 1, they go for it again. They hand it off the backfield to Levens. Looks like he wants to throw the ball. They're going for McNabb. Incomplete. He had his hands on it. Incomplete. Donovan McNabb trailing, hoping that no one would notice him despite his size.
We saw them run this play Friday afternoon during practice. We asked Donovan about it. We said we've had it in every week. McNabb actually fought his way back into the picture. When Levens throws this ball, it doesn't look like Donovan's going to have any chance at all. But he fights his way through 2 guys to get to the football and then drops it and boots it.
And Corey kind of threw off the rhythm of the play because he got in on Levens, and Levens had to readjust. But McNabb outfought those 2 defenders. He had a touchdown.
He did everything perfect right up to the point where the ball hit the palms of his hands, and then he dropped it.
And what did he say the last time they tried that play?
He dropped it.
It'll be a while again. As Manning runs it out of the pocket, heads for the sidelines, out of bounds at the 40-yard line. And a gain of about 8.
I can't imagine how frustrated Donovan McNabb has to be right now. Donovan McNabb, take a look at this right here. He gives the ball off, and then he's going to take off down the sideline. But if we could, when he gets down, stop it right here. He has to fight his way right through 2 guys, which he does, and finds himself in the open, and somehow Levens threw the ball to that open place. And it hits him right on the hands, and he's not able to keep up with it. Ooh, that has got to be tormenting McNabb right now.
Meanwhile, Manning was second and a long 2. Gives to Monroe, who's caught in the backfield for a loss at the 36-yard line as Sean Barber, the former Washington Redskin backer, in to make the tackle. Get breaking NFL news, exclusive analysis, team power rankings. It's all at CBSSportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline. And of course, you get fantasy news as well. And Sean Barber has his own fantasy team. He says he's logged on all the time. He's the coach.
One of the defensive linemen that rotates in and out of there, N.D. Kalu, is out of there now. He's in the locker room with back spasms.
3rd down and 6 for Manning. Back into the shotgun. Here comes the blitz. Quick throw complete to Wayne. Wayne has the 1st down and more out to the 47-yard line. Blaine Bishop, the safety, ran him out of bounds.
Well, you can see Peyton Manning getting his team to the line of scrimmage very early, changing the play. But you have to agree that whatever he's going to this afternoon has been working, because he has been isolating receivers into the right coverages. He has been calling running plays that are finding the soft spot in the Eagles defense. This has been some performance so far by this offensive team of the Colts that a lot of people thought was a mismatch against this powerful Eagle defense.
And he worked against Bobby Taylor, the corner, to complete that last one. Monroe, not there. Maybe a loss of a yard as Sean Barber and Troy Vincent team up on the tackle. Monday on CBS, an all-new night of America's best television, and there's the star-studded lineup. Tim Conway, our old buddy, and being honored in the Hall of Fame this week, said, I don't watch a lot of comedy on television, but I do watch Everybody Loves Raymond. Now that is a good show. High praise from Tim Conway.
One of the masters.
45-yard line, 2nd down and a dozen. Meanwhile, the Colts are chewing up time. Down to under 3 minutes here in the 3rd. Draw to Monroe. Just a couple is all. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
Boy, Monroe is an aggressive runner who takes some big hits when he runs the football. You can hear them up here. This is some action from the first half as he broke into the open. Look, that's the ball where it was knocked out. Watch the hit here by Levon Kirkland as he scores a touchdown. But James Monroe, while he's got a lot of yards, they have come at an expense. This guy will deserve an extensive trip to the hot tub when this is over.
84 yards and 7 carries the first quarter, but only 18 yards since as Manning throws into the flat. It's complete to Troy Walters, and Walters, who has only 5 catches all season, picks that one off in front of Pro Bowler Troy Vincent, and it's going to be close to a first down.
I watched what the Colts are doing here, Dick, and I think of what Hugh Douglas told us on Friday when he said, are we cocky? You better believe we're not, because we've been favored in a lot of games before and gotten our butts kicked. I substituted the word butt for what he really said. And it looks like where the knee hit the ground, it looked like the football was out far enough to pick up the first down.
Either a first down or 4th and inches. It is a first down for the Colts.
So Hugh Douglas was trying to say that the Eagles weren't cocky, that they weren't taking this Colts team that had lost 3 in a row for granted. And if that was indeed their attitude, well, he was right. Because the Colts, I think, are surprising everybody with the way they're playing.
Look at Brett Favre, almost 300 yards third quarter. Manning, 7 out of the last 8. He now has 216 yards through the air and a couple of touchdowns. And a first down. Fakes to Mungro. Lots of time. Goes deep down the middle to Harrison. Touchdown. Oh, that was so beautifully executed. Harrison running freely down the middle.
Well, Peyton Manning told us for 3 weeks we've been trying to run play action, but without a running game, it's a hollow fake. James Mungro has made the fake hollow no longer. And the fake by Peyton Manning here gets everybody on the Eagles to bite because they have to respect the Colts running game. It's been successful. And oh, how much fun this has to be to draw it up like this.
And this ties Raymond Berry. This is the 68th touchdown for the Indianapolis Colts. Marvin Harrison to put him on an even level with the legendary Raymond Berry.
Now kudos to Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, Dick. He is calling a marvelous game.
And his team is executing 28-6. Philadelphia's own Marvin Harrison went to Roman Catholic High School in this city. 2 touchdowns today. Completes a 69-yard drive in 7 plays. And Harrison with 5 more catches, 74 in the season, 2 more touchdowns. He has 6 on the year. Needs 4 more catches to have 600 receptions in only 7 seasons.
It's hard to imagine.
Mitchell takes it out to the 31.
Well, Marvin Harrison, as Dick said, here's Marvin right here. And when you take a look at it, we've got double coverage exactly the way the Eagles would like it up there at the top with Troy Vincent and Brian Dawkins. But the play fake freezes Dawkins right there, and that allows the middle of the field to be wide open for Marvin Harrison. And again, it's all because of the success of Mungro in the running game.
But watching Harrison run that, one of the reasons he's so brilliant, he makes his cuts at full speed. How do you read his moves?
Well, you think there's any chemistry between he and Peyton Manning?
Oh, McNabb, he fumbles and a scramble. And who's got this? And the Colts think they've got another turnover. And who was the man who made the hit? Dwight Freeney. Freeney from behind, and McNabb is slow getting up. And part of that might be the pain of disgust.
Well, he's limping. It looks like he's favoring his right leg a little bit as he comes off.
Look at Freeney.
And that's why he got his right ankle caught and then twisted by Freeney as he spun him around. Watch the right leg of McNabb get right there as it gets twisted. And and Freeney did the right thing by not letting go, because McNabb would have recovered this. It looked like he was going to be able to crawl over and get the ball. But Freeney, boy, he did it all on that play. He knocked it out, and then he kept McNabb from recovering his own fumble.
From the 26th then, with a sizable lead, they give to Mungro, heads to the sidelines, and then steps in bounds for a gain of about 3 before Troy Vincent can make the tackle. Well, folks, up to date, which player should be the 2002 NFL MVP? What do you think? Bledsoe, Favre, Falk, Gannon, Priest, Donovan, LaDainian. There are some suggestions. Cast your vote at NFL.com. And you'll see Priest Holmes, who has had a brilliant start of the season against the 49ers in our second game. Most of you will see on CBS. 6 fumbles first half of the season, 2 fumbles today, both forced by Dwight Freeney. Boy, what a Syracuse influence. You got Donovan McNabb. We thought we'd be talking with superlatives about him as we usually do. But it's this guy, Mungro, as flags go down from Syracuse, and Freeney from Syracuse, who have been the offensive defensive stars for the Colts. And Harrison. Wait,
I was going to say, how about
Harrison?
I thought you were going to go to Marvin Harrison. You fooled me and you went to Mungro instead. Yes, it has been a banner day for Syracuse.
And a banner weekend.
63 offense, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
They offered an omen, a portent yesterday when they upset Virginia Tech, did the Orange.
Yes, they did. Jeff Saturday gets the call on that penalty, and we just haven't had a lot of.
Play 10, right?
It's been a relatively clean game in terms of penalties.
That's why it's moved so rapidly. Good pace. Under a minute left, as you can see, 42 seconds as they mark off the 10 back to the 34-yard line. It'll be second down and about 17. Next Saturday, Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, they set the scene for you on Olympus College football today. And then the Georgia Bulldogs take on the Auburn Tigers. For more, go to CBSSportsline.com. America Online, keyword CBS Sportsline. See a lot of that ducking up in the line of scrimmage. You never know which man's blitzing. And Manning uses as much time to try to get the read and then gives the Mungo slides right into the arms of Hugh Douglas. And with that, the Colts will probably run out the quarter.
And the Eagle fans are, I think, getting ready to express their displeasure with this, the hometown crew.
And Indianapolis fans back in Indiana, how happy they must be. 28-6. We return after a word from your local station. A couple of third-quarter turnovers. Donovan McNabb fumbling twice when hit by Dwight Freeney, the rookie defensive end of the Colts, to set up.
From where?
Syracuse. Well, proud.
The Orangemen are having a big day here at the vet.
Remember when you were on campus? I know it's a long time for both of us, but there was something special. Be watching a big game and they'd mention your school.
Oh, sure. Darn right.
They're happy up there today. Kadri Ismail, also from Syracuse, back in the game. What's going on here? It's to Harrison, picking his way, and then protecting the ball as he's hit at the 30-yard line. And a little push and shove afterwards. Adam Meadows out there spearheading the activity.
Well, the last time these guys played, Dick, it was all Colts.
And that was November 3 years ago at the vet when Edgerrin James was a rookie. 117 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Peyton Manning, 3 touchdowns. And
this guy, that was his first career start. Donovan McNabb.
And the Colts prevailed 44-17.
And there is Edgerrin James, a spectator today on the Colts sideline. Probably 2 weeks until they get him back.
Vanderjagt, a 48-yard attempt, and it hits the upright. No good.
Point.
The left upright.
That's about the only thing that hasn't gone well for the Colts today.
And so early in the fourth quarter, it remains 28-6. Not superstitious. 13, Mike Vanderjagt, but he's not happy either. As Donovan McNabb, the pass is deflected at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. Let's go back to his reaction after missing.
First off, let's watch him kick it. Yes, he thought it was good, but as it begins to hook, it's just going to catch the outside portion of the upright, which kicks it out of there. How frustrated was he after that?
Enough to tear the earring right out of his
Not
lobe.
Twice. Let's go 3 times. Let's go 4 times. All right, Mike, get a grip. You're only a kicker.
The catch is good by Antonio Freeman, who's been quiet since the first quarter. And it's down at the 45-yard line as Nick Harper covering.
And it was apparent that when he got thrown to the ground is when the ball came out.
And the Eagles, because of that missed field goal, stay within 3 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion.
And the good news here, McNabb's still in the game.
Flag down as the throw is incomplete. The coverage, Walt Harris on James Thrash, but flags are down.
And after that leg twist that we saw Donovan McNabb on the last series, it's good to see him back out there. and a procedure call will back up the Eagles.
Yeah, they may decline this.
Well, what's third? Well, that was third down play. You're right.
Yeah.
They'll decline it. What am I saying?
Illegal formation. Number 72 was not on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
I lost my head.
Well, you get into that kicker realm. You know, that happens every time. Your emotions come welling up from deep within when you talk about your beloved kickers.
Yeah, the rest of the team is really upset that the kicker is beating his helmet on the ground back at the bench.
Everyone turned away and said, "What is going on?"
Anyway.
Yeah, no.
Speaking of kickers, Sean Landetta in punt formation. Troy Walters back inside the 15.
Good place for a fake if you think you can get away with it.
Walters lets it go, and it's a beautiful kick hitting the sidelines and out of bounds at the 8-yard line. And that's where Peyton Manning and the offense will start. 48-yard kick. Sean Landetta, he can still do it.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Civic from Honda, a car you never have to think about. DirecTV, movies, music, and exclusive sports from a leader in digital satellite entertainment. And by the United States Postal Service.
Our producer Lance Barrow has a great affection for those Philadelphia cheese.
I want one of those.
Yeah.
A cheese, cheeseheads in Green Bay or what? But that's a cheese steak head.
Cheese steak head. First one I've ever seen. Now, those become popular. You get the marketing award of the year.
Well, I'm sure they've been around here for a while, but I've been coming to the city of brotherly love now for 30-some years, and that's the first one I've ever seen. That's a fabulous little chateau.
Give me a break. It belongs on Vanderjet.
James Mungro, in a more serious moment, heads over to, is he going to go on into the locker room? He's certainly being looked at by the training staff. I guess they're going to stay on the Colts bench.
What the cliche, speaking of Phil Simms, online, paying the price. Oh, he has paid it today.
Yes, he has.
So Jim Finn, who fumbled a couple of times last week, hangs on to this one, no gain, and we
done, Mr. Nance. In fact, we could load up and send a few back to New York. We've got some guys headed that direction.
That's right. You get the whole trunk. You could I'll get my suitcase out of there, and you can have that room. Manning over the middle, and a one-handed catch stab by Reggie Wayne. Not enough for a first down, but another excellent effort by Wayne, who has offered a big game today.
It's a tough job being an official. You've got to monitor what's going on in the game, and nobody more so than the umpire, who finds himself not only getting hit in the back sometimes by defensive backs on their way up or linebackers on their way up to make a tackle, but always they have to be alert for the quarterback throwing the football. And that time Bill Schuster did a good job of getting down there and marrying himself to the ground to get out of the way.
Coming after the kicker. Gets this one away. Not a good kick. Gunnar Smith has not gotten a lot of power in his punts today. And this one's going to come up kicked at the 44-yard line. That's where the Eagles will put it in play at the Colts 44. Timeout. 11 minutes to go. The Eagles well behind. The visiting Colts with a shocker here in Philly today against the 6-2 Eagles, leading 28-6. But Philadelphia back with a short punt at the 44 of the Colts, and McNabb goes deep down the middle, well over the head of his intended receiver James Thrash. Many of the fans have left in this sellout crowd, and they didn't leave with a smile. Next Saturday, NFL stars Donovan McNabb, Terrell Davis, Tony Gonzalez, and the brothers Grammatica join their animated counterparts for an hour of football and fun. It's good for the entire family on NFL Backyard Basics, football tips from the pros. For more, go to CBSSportsline.com, America online keyword CBS Sportsline. McNabb on 2nd and 10, guns it over the middle, incomplete through the hands of Todd Pinkston, and a flag is down. David Macklin covering on the play. You know, you brought up the point in the first half, last week's game. Jets at San Diego, where San Diego never in rhythm, and the Eagles have had the same problems today.
Exactly the same problems. You got to give a lot of credit. I know Andy Reid is frustrated by the performance of his team.
Holding, 63 offense, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
Honey bun Hank Fraley.
Honey buns. I think they got to give a lot of credit to Ron Meeks, the defensive coordinator of the Colts. He knew that his team was going to have to play a superior game. There's Ron right there. And boy, have they come through. This is his first year on the job. Was a member of the Rams staff and highly recommended by Lovie Smith, the defensive coordinator at St. Louis.
McNabb able to twist away and then goes down with a sack at the 40-yard line. Marcus Washington will be credited with a sack, but you know who forced the play. Dwight Freeney again.
R-O-O-K-I-E. I know it's hard to believe, but that's the way this kid, that's what he is, but he has not been playing like it. He got the good speed up the field, got back in it a little bit, but he forced McNabb to step up into the rush. And this is a guy who normally is just a pass rusher, but because of injuries to Raheem Brock, he had to start and play the rundowns as well.
Third down and long. The throw is underneath his zone coverage, and an immediate hit on Antonio Freeman. Nick Harper makes the stop, and on fourth down, out comes the punting team to another chorus of boos.
Well, Chad Bratsky had to flip sides as well. Normally he's the right end. He had to go over and play left end.
Hadn't done that his entire NFL career of 9 years.
No, he couldn't even remember doing it in college. So it's a kudos to everybody playing on the defensive side of the ball for Ron Meeks.
Not giving up a touchdown today. No. Meanwhile, the Eagles, who had allowed only 8 touchdowns all year, see Indianapolis score 4 times today. They go for it 4th and 20 underneath, and hoping that Staley can find an open area. Could not. Tackled at the 45, and that's where the Colts will take over on downs. David Thornton and Walt Harris playing that loose coverage with long yardage.
Well, everybody, you know, some of the crowd that are left are booing that throw by Donovan McNabb, but what choice do you have? You're not going to get it over the top against a defense like that. You've got to throw something a little shorter and hope that a couple broken tackles might lead to a first down, but it's unrealistic to think you're just going to be able to launch one over the top in a 4th and 20 situation.
Meanwhile, Peyton Manning takes his team out of the huddle with a sterling second half. He's 10 for 11 and 2 touchdowns, 144 yards, and Monroe is back in the backfield. And gets the ball. No gain.
Well, Dick, Marvin Harrison now has 75 catches on the year after that second touchdown, making him the receiver with the most catches in history after his first 7 years in the NFL. And Tony Dungy was talking to us about him before the game, saying Marvin's skill level is just unbelievable. What he does on the field, how he adjusts when defenses roll toward him, which inevitably they do every game. He said coaching against him, you know how good he is, but you really don't realize until you have him on your team.
Very, very modest, quiet guy.
Well, and sadly, a lot of people in this league, when asked about who are the great receivers in this game, unfortunately name off a lot of other people before they get around to Marvin Harrison. And that's not right.
Throw underneath to Reggie Wayne, and Wayne heads to the sidelines at the 40 and has Harrison blocking for him. 20, 10, and finally bumped out of bounds at the 7-yard line. A 48-yard play.
Well, Peyton Manning is being an equal opportunity quarterback. He is getting the football to everybody on his offensive team. He's letting Reggie Wayne get in on the action today. But look at that. Look at the good hustle downfield by Marvin Harrison.
So it's 1st and goal for the Colts at the 8-yard line on a 48-yard play. As Wayne over 100 yards, Harrison over 100 yards, and Munro with a handoff over 100 yards rushing. Although he loses one on that play as Bobby Taylor up from the corner to make the tackle. And the clock ticks at 7:49.
Well, the good news for the Eagles is that they've already played Houston in the AFC South, and after this game they're done with the AFC South. The team leaders, sterling day for Peyton Manning, son of Archie, and James Munro. Who'd have thought this? Over 100 yards in the first half. This, of course, is nothing new. A big day by Marvin Harrison. That just seems to be pretty much status quo for the all-world receiver.
2nd and goal. Munro tackled right at the line of scrimmage as Ike Reese in there early. Well, it's interesting. We showed you that 1999 clip here at the Vet in the first game. Donovan McNabb started and the Colts won handily. That's the last time that the Eagle defense has given up a 100-yard rusher and a 100-yard receiver and a 300-yard passer in the same game until today, as you saw the numbers of the highlight performers of this Indy team. 3rd and goal. There's that evidence of how unlikely it was that the Colts were going to have this kind of game. Eagles haven't allowed anybody touchdowns. Munro up the middle, touchdown. And the Eagles perhaps looking for the pass on 3rd and goal from the 10. Give it to the rookie from Syracuse, and he has 2 touchdowns in his first NFL start. You bet. Take that young man right to the locker.
You know that look.
You do.
That's the look of a most unhappy coach who realizes that some of his defensive players have mailed this one in a little early. A little standing around going on right there, and that is the look of an unhappy man.
Vanderjagt adds the extra point, and it has become a thumping 35-6 Indianapolis.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Toyota. Get the feeling. And by AT&T Wireless. AT&T Wireless brings you M-Life, your mobile life made better.
Out on the Schuylkill, Rich Gannon.
A little crew.
In high school,
right.
lettered in crew in this city, was an outstanding oarsman or rower.
Stroke.
A stroker.
Stroke.
Dorsey Levens returning this kickoff and takes it out across the 40 to the 42-yard line. And we remind you tonight on 60 Minutes, it's the most contaminated site in America. Where is it? And who did it? You'll find out tonight on 60 Minutes, and then you'll see the Robert Hansen story starring Oscar winner William Hurt, all tonight on CBS, America's most watched network. And on Wednesdays, CBS presents The Amazing Race. Teams travel through a maze. Now, these look like familiar sights to me. We were in Morocco a summer ago. I hope they stay well. Don't miss The Amazing Race Wednesday here on CBS, America's most watched network. McNabb, he's going to tuck it away. 50 and out of bounds at the 45.
Well, a lot of smiles over on the Indianapolis sideline. Marvin Harrison, of course, a bit of a historic day today in the history of this storied franchise. It's only the 3rd time that they've had a 300-yard passer, a pair of 100-yard receivers, and a 100-yard rusher. So Messrs. Manning, Harrison, Wayne, and Munro, big day today.
And of course, Harrison with, remember he said, I'm not even getting in the ticket business because I've got about 200 people that want to come see me play today in my hometown.
He said they were here. They found tickets on their own. He said, I said, we did. We said, Marvin, how many people are you going to have here? And he said, hundreds. And there are some of them right now.
That's his aunt, we understand, with a Paul Tagliabue special. 2nd down and 2, and not only that offense, but the fact the Colts defense keeping the Eagles out of the end zone thus far. McNabb trying to stop that all day to throw, and finally finds Stanley again, and Staley up at the 23-yard line, and the clock showing 5 minutes and change left. Stay with us, folks. More action. Second half of our doubleheader, the Chiefs and Niners, or the Patriots at Chicago, to follow right here. And, of course, updates on all the scores and highlights from the guys in New York. First down at the 22. Complete to the tight end, Chad Lewis. He's had a quiet day.
Dick, I think you'd agree with me that as we get to sit down and talk to the teams during the course of the season, it's always, these are two of the classiest teams in the league, from their head coaches on down. The players, there's intelligence, there's wit, there's humor, there's humility. Right. You think of a guy like Marvin Harris
as well.
It's two of the classiest groups of people you're ever going to be around.
McNabb throws underneath, and it's complete to Freddie Mitchell, only the third catch of the entire year for the #1 draft pick out of UCLA a year ago. Thornton and Harper made the tackle. Continue your point.
Well, and it's just, it's the Eagles, I'm going to say this is their clunker. Every team in this league is going to spin one off.
McNabb throws underneath, incomplete. Intended for Mitchell again, and he was well covered by Nick Harper. And there's James and Francina Mungro from East Stroudsburg, PA. About a 2-hour drive away, and boy, how happy they must be. There.
No kidding. And, you know, he fought through. You know, he was bothered by nerves a little bit in the first half. He was sick over on the sideline, and I tell you what, the kid has really fought his way through it. And boy, did Donovan McNabb, Dick, get hit on the lower leg at the end of that play.
And Thornton really nailed Staley as he went for the catch.
Watch the very end of this play. Who is it that gets there and hits him? Oh, you can see right from behind, it's Bratsky.
You wonder at this point, 35-6, why McNabb's in there. Boyd Detmer is his backup, and A.J. Feely, the third-string quarterback. But they want to try to get a score, at least a cosmetic score here in a very disappointing afternoon. McNabb fakes, keeps it, and does not get in as he's smothered at the 2-yard line by 4. Indianapolis Colts, Scioli and Peterson leading the way.
Well, Andy Reid has to just be monumentally frustrated that their red zone problems continue. Even though they won in Chicago last week, he had to settle for 4 field goals in that 19-13 win. And here they are again. Just they cannot find. They've been in the red zone, but they just cannot seem to cross the goal line.
The injured Colt is David Thornton, the rookie linebacker from North Carolina. They have big plans for him. It's a long way to the NFL from Goldsboro, North Carolina, where he was the drum major in the high school band. He doesn't look like one now, does he? 6'2" and 230.
No, he does not.
And I'm not knocking drum majors. I was one myself back at old Armada High School in Michigan. You didn't know that about me, did you? Yeah.
No, I did not.
I got cut from the football team because I was only 110 pounds as a sophomore, and the only way I could get back at the coach is go out for the band.
Now, were you one of those guys? Were you able to go with like your back all the way bent back there?
Yeah, where you
parallel to the ground?
Yeah, that plume was just dragging the turf there in Armada. I had that high kick.
I could just see you. I could just see you with a dragging plume.
Oh, you want to talk about my baton work? Oh,
no,
my.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I'll pass on that.
I can't read this. You read it.
Well, Monday on television's most watched new show, CSI Miami. This 2-year-old holds a secret to a crime so mysterious, so unthinkable, you'll have to see it to believe it. Don't miss an all-new CSI Miami Monday on CBS, and as you know, America's most watched network.
Absolutely beautiful, partner. Beautiful.
When you pass me the baton, I won't drop it.
Well, that's how you tell your band's behind you. You need the baton to be able to show you're going to march left, right, counter march. Okay, 4th and goal at the 2. McNabb rolling and looking and fires. Touchdown finally. Jim Thomason.
He almost dropped that. Even that one was a double clutcher.
Thomason's second touchdown catch, used as the second tight end. No smiles from the head coach.
Well, he's going to be wide open, and then his treat's going to be this whistler coming in from Donovan McNabb, who put an awful lot of mustard on that ball. And Thomason almost looked like he had to block it with his shoulder to try to stop the momentum on that football.
Akers for the extra point. And it's 35-13 with 3 minutes and 35 seconds left. Thomason is one of those ducks from Oregon.
Wonder if he knows Mallard.
So the Eagles, after being held out of the end zone for the entire game, finally get the score on 4th down. The scramble by McNabb. It was close. He did hit him right in the chest with it. 58 yards in 9 plays for the Eagles.
Even though they were successful in finally getting into the end zone, it's got to be one of Andy Reid's priorities with this offensive football team to somehow, you work so hard to get into scoring territory. You battle your way down the field to try to get inside the 20, and it becomes a really bad habit to not be able to convert.
Part of their demise today, the Eagles defense, was they were the best in the league on 3rd downs all season long. 26% is all allowed on 3rd down, and the Colts went 7 for 12 today. And the onside kick set up for the Eagles as Akers has it lined up to kick to the near sidelines.
You got to try it. The question is, will he try to bounce one, or will he try to pooch one over the top of that front line of the Colts?
He hits it high.
He hits a pooch.
And it's fielded by Jason Doring, who is the safety behind the front line, the backup safety. Oh, what a day for the Colts on offense.
It has been a day of surprises delivered by that guy, James Mungro. Started off with a touchdown. No surprise, though, that Peyton Manning would find Marvin Harrison. He spread it around. That time a TD to Reggie Wayne. Back to Harrison. And all was set up by the running of that guy. Without the running of James Mungro and without the blocking of the offensive line of the Colts, and Glenn and DeMulling and Saturday and Deem and Adam Meadows, Marcus Pollard at tight end, I think they deserve an awful lot of credit. The running of Mungro is what made it all happen today for the Colts.
Jim Finn is now at the running back position, a fullback from Penn, the ex-Quaker, down to the 35-yard line. And for Tony Dungy's team, and he said, you know, I feel really confident. Of course, he's always so level, Dungy, in his demeanor. That he said, my team is young. It's getting better. I feel good about the second half of the season. And, of course, his team accepting that as a timeout is called. And one of the things he probably is going to remind his club as they go home, 2 years ago, New England at this point was 5-4. Last year, 2 years ago, it was Baltimore 5-4. Last year, New England 5-4. They both go on to win the Super Bowl, and his Colts will go home today 5-4.
And in that AFC South, Dick, you'll wonder, 10 wins almost certainly is going to win that division, and 9, it's not inconceivable that 9 and 7 could win the AFC South.
No wild card out of the South.
No, you wouldn't think so, where, you know, Tennessee and Indianapolis are tied today for the lead at 4-4. I don't see a wild card coming out of there unless they both put on unbelievable second half runs.
3:23 to go, and give it to Autry Denson, who barely had time to learn any of the playbook. Cut by the Bears after their summer camp, or actually Cleveland played with the Bears last year and carried only one time. He was a kick returner. Second timeout spent by the Eagles. Let's look at the best records in the NFL here at midterm.
Well, you see the best record in the league belongs to the Packers, and they were adding to that today. But over in the AFC, you can see that a lot of familiar names there, except for San Diego. And I'm not sure people thought Buffalo would get off to the kind of start they had. But look at this so far. You see that 19 teams out of the 32 are 500 or better. So more than half the teams are 500 or above. And again, look how many of those remaining 7 are lurking relatively close to 500.
New England
is parity a bad word? No, I don't think so.
New England showed that this stage last year, no one took them seriously. Here's Denson protecting the ball, and he's down short of the first down. That'll bring up 4th down with clock ticking toward 3 minutes to go. Now there's a timeout, the last used by Philadelphia. Well, we've given the Eagles the defeat today, so 6-3, and the Giants are winning and would move within 1. So that pad Philadelphia enjoyed had a bite taken out of it, and Indianapolis, at least for the moment, in first place in the South.
It's just hard to believe that all 3 of these teams have defeated the Philadelphia Eagles, and only Houston has fallen victim to the Eagles. And I suspect that when the Eagles looked and saw that it was their turn for the NFC East to play the AFC South this season, and looking at all the problems in the South, Jacksonville, Tennessee, both with major salary cap issues and depleted rosters, Houston being an expansion team, and the Colts having problems, I'm not sure they thought about going 1-3 against that division.
On 4th down, although they're in field goal range, they'll just use the pooch punt by Hunter Smith. It's fair caught by Mitchell at the 10-yard line. And we have 3:02 left and the 2-minute timeout. No timeouts left for Andy Reid. Reminder, Kansas City, San Francisco, and New England, Chicago next. New England put it back together last week against the Bills, and we've seen Kansas City several times. And I know the 49ers are good, but boy, the Chiefs going to make it fun for you. They can score.
And they'll give up a few normally, although we saw them really rise up and snuff the Raiders, and they got a few balls that are going to be sent off to the gentlemen to be painted, game balls.
James Mungrove, number 23, with 2 touchdowns. Throw underneath the thrash, and he's out to the 25 on a 15-yard pickup. Make that Antonio Freeman.
I suspect in the locker room after this game that Tony Dungy and Peyton Manning and the captains of this team, when it comes to handing out game balls, that I think number 23 might be the first recipient, James Mungrove. What a deal for a rookie.
Well overthrown is McNabb as he threw under pressure. Bashir on the coverage for the Colts.
And what is he? He's from like an hour and a half from here?
Yeah, isn't that East Stroudsburg, PA? You know, he was a tremendous high school player. It wasn't as if he was unknown in the area. In fact, he said the Pennsylvania State prep record, 8,400 yards rushing, 9,500 yards total before he went to Syracuse, but no one drafted him. Detroit.
He had 8,400 yards rushing in high school?
Yes. Just felt, hey, this is another old high school game here. Over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chad Lewis gets that catch and a first down at the 36.
Mike Arnold, our director, is telling me that he had over 3,000 in 1 year. Now, how many directors know that kind of information?
That's why it's so much fun being around him. It's football.
Lance Barrow producing, Mike Arnold directing, our same old crack crew. Good day, guys.
Up for a jump ball. Freddie Mitchell has it knocked away. But, you know, nothing could happen without Joel Ducard, who celebrates his birthday yesterday. I mean, that's what it's all about. Joel is one of our elite members of our staff.
Broadcast associate on our squad. And works football, works golf, year-round employee for us here at CBS. We're real proud of him. By the way, you know, JJ, or James Johnson, our other BA working the show, Chad Bratsky asked us to pass along some kudos to his old college coach.
That's right. He did indeed. And that were the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. Roy Kidd, after 39 years of leaving Eastern Kentucky, Bratsky's coach. Timeout at 2 minutes. Now, city of brotherly love, and elsewise they love the Eagles. They stay to the final minutes, although the Colts have really had to turn some heads today with their performance.
And it was from the very beginning, Dick. The Colts just outplayed the Eagles on both sides of the football from the opening kickoff and surprised everybody. Right on their opening drive, they showed that they were going to be able to run the football on the Eagles, which I don't think many people thought was possible.
Antonio Freeman, the recipient of that pass from McNabb, is without any timeouts. They hurry to the line of scrimmage. 1:45, 1:44 to go. McNabb again flagged down, and that one won't count to Chad Lewis. Lewis, who one of the more interesting guys in the league. He can speak 3 languages.
92 defense, unabated towards the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And you see Bradsky, the Eastern Kentucky colonel. It was nice that he thought of his coach, and that's
it was nice.
That relationship never ends the rest of your life. If you had a coach that you loved and respected, that's your second dad. McNabb scrambles and slides. First down at the 38-yard line. David Thornton right there for the Colts. As soon as they spot it, they'll circle the arm and start the clock again.
It's been a long time since I've seen this few people in an NFL stadium at the end of a football game.
This is about 1,000 left.
There aren't many folks left to see the end of this.
Down to 106. Damn, gonna look to the end zone. No. Fires down the middle, and it's complete at the 26-yard line. Antonio Freeman again. A good pickup by this Eagle team. He has 22 catches as the 3rd receiver at the start today. And another 6 for 72 yards this afternoon. 43-42. Just hope McNabb gets out of this and somebody didn't fall on him and get injured. Inside the 15 to Freddie Mitchell, who has a couple of catches here late.
Well, that means a lot to Freddie, who only had a couple of catches coming in.
Fans have been disappointed as a #1 pick. He really hasn't offered a lot of production. 20 seconds left from the 14. McNabb, open field in front, slides down at the 10, and that's probably going to be it. So McNabb unable to set the NFL record for consecutive rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. Had he run one in, it would have been 5 straight games. And it's a day in Philadelphia where the Indianapolis Colts came riding in like hotshot ponies. Tony Dungy's team with a very impressive victory, 35-13. Second half of the doubleheader coming up. Stay tuned, and we'll also bring you scores and highlights from New York. For Dan Dierdorf, Bonnie Bernstein, this is Dick Enberg. Final score, the Colts 35, the Eagles 13. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, and we go to New York and Jim Nantz.
All right.